Well, thank you for having us on the podcast. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. It's great. I'm looking forward to hearing all your wisdom.
I don't know how much we have, but we'll share what we can.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, well, it's, as far as, I'm not really sure what level of person is, listens. So, but I think it's a lot of beginners, a lot of people just getting started. So how did you all get started?
Yeah, and that's great because I really have a strong connection with people just starting out. And we talk a lot of people ask us for advice, and it's something I would never want to be as a coach, but I definitely want to inspire people who are just starting out in the industry, because there is the ability to do well in it. But it can be really difficult and discouraging in the beginning, but if you can stick with it and find your way, it can be life-changing for sure. Would you like to share how we started out, or should I start?
Sure. Well, you kind of started out on your own before I joined to help you. So I was still actually working a different job then.
As was I. So for a long time, go back a long time ago, I roughly or briefly tried to get into real estate investing in about 2008, 2009, right before the big recession hit. Actually took a Donald Trump course of all things, which was a big disaster. Another coaching at the time, and then the recession hit, and then I ended up losing my job, lost my house, ended up, going through some hard times like so many other people during that time, and then, got through it, and, fast forward like 5 or 6 years, have a nice W-2 again, and just thinking to myself, I'm reaching, I think I was reaching 40 at that point, or just about 40, and I'm like, this isn't what I want to do the rest of my life. I want to get back into real estate investing. Started listening to podcasts, blah, blah, blah. Started doing some research. Wanted to get into flipping houses, and then came across wholesaling. And I said to myself, I think that's what I want to do. If I can get really good at finding the properties, and then that allows me any option from there. So decided to just get a coach and mentor with wholesaling. Started as a side gig in January of 2017, and we only, I worked full time, did it nights and weekends. Did 10 deals our first year, nothing great, didn't even make that much money, learned a ton, but we're really getting a lot of traction going into our second year. That's when I begged her to quit her job and come on, because I just couldn't handle it, and I wasn't at a point where I could leave my W-2 yet. So she came on, and then, we're just starting out our fourth year now, and we have a whole team of people that work with us now. So
nice. Excellent. When you started listening to podcasts, did you have a favorite one? Where do you feel you kind of got the most benefit?
I think for me at that time, it was Wholesaling Inc. That's really what was the driving force for me to get into wholesaling. But, I was also listening to Spouses Flipping Houses.
I was gonna say, that's when you
we go on a lot of runs. I would listen to that, and I just dreamed of like a lifestyle where Michelle and I could work together every day, which we do now. It's not flipping houses all the time, but working together has been the best part of the whole thing, quite honestly.
Yeah, excellent. Not everybody could do that, A lot of people be killing each other after a month.
I know.
Yeah, we hear that. I hear people say that a lot, and I don't know, for us, it just really, really works. So I feel very lucky.
Yeah, we're one of those, corny couples that's attached to the hip, literally. We work out together every day. We work together every day, and when we're not doing that stuff, we love to spend our time together. We were previously married, so we both have been divorced, and we bring kids, so we are a blended family. And I think, just like anything else in life, the things that you go through give you a better appreciation for things that you do have. They're a better fit for you. And, we're literally soulmates and perfect for each other. And it's just another blessing in our lives, at least in my life, to be able to spend with her doing the business.
And not to mention too, like this feel just the reason we love real estate even is just the flexibility to weave everything into our schedule.
Yeah.
Because with 5 kids, now we really can just kind of weave it all into our day. It's still really, really busy, but it's a little easier.
Like today with,
our life,
with
yeah.
4 kids at home on a snow
Clearly.
day, no stressing about
Yeah.
childcare or, getting to the office or any of that stuff.
Right.
So we call it the pinch me life. Hashtag
Yeah.
pinch me life. That's how we feel.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. It's the same. Like I live across the street from the beach, and every morning I go, I cross this big strip of people sitting in line waiting to get to work, so I can go walk on the beach, and I just think, wow.
Yeah.
Pinch me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's all thanks to real estate. It is a beautiful thing.
It is a wonderful thing. And, the one thing with the wholesaling aspect, because we work directly with sellers, we feel like we make a positive impact in the local community because a lot of people we deal with are distressed, whether the houses are or the personal situation. And, we make a positive change in a lot of people's lives too. So that is just like icing on the cake. We get to work together. We get to have flexibility with our schedule. We make decent money doing it. And we just get to help people out. It's just awesome. We love what we do. It's so much fun.
Awesome. So what kind of challenges have you seen when you like just getting started or even on a daily basis?
Well, you have any
With
thoughts?
wholesaling, you definitely had challenges in the beginning, right?
Yeah,
as we were starting to grow, there were growing pains.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're a newbie, one of the biggest thing is just making sure you have enough buyers on your buyers list. You can get the deals, and then just trying to find people to buy them off of you is a big thing. And just learning how to be consistent with your marketing, which is a big part of what wholesaling is.
Mm-hmm.
For a newbie, those are 2 of the biggest struggles. Kind of was a struggle for me. More now is just really scaling and growing a business and learning how to put people with their strengths in different positions to continue to have successful growth. Another thing is, working with the sellers can be very challenging. Again, these people are distressed. They're under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure for whatever reason. Some of it's self-inflicted, some of it isn't. And, a lot of these people can be procrastinating for a lot of various reasons, and getting them to the closing table or to make the right choice or just to accept our help can be very challenging. And, and it's one of those things where you may have a property under contract, everything may be good, and then there's so much work to get it to the closing table, a lot more than people realize. And that's where a wholesaler really earns their money is, getting the property to the closing table for that end buyer.
Say that's definitely, I think, just the biggest challenge always is just sticking with it and getting it to close.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think as an industry as a whole, that is the biggest challenge is just working with sellers directly, like anything else,
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion involved in that kind of a situation.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's understandable. How do you find your buyers? I mean, your sellers?
We do marketing, we send out postcards, letters. We were doing cold calling for an extended period of time, but that turned out to be very ineffective. We have a great online presence. Michelle and I do a lot of Facebook and social media posting and marketing and stuff like that. But our bread and butter is probably our mailing. We're at a point now here locally where we're doing about 45,000 addresses every 10 weeks.
Wow.
And growing. When we started out, it was maybe 1,000 postcards every week, and a lot of those have, some lists have gone, some have been added, some properties we've closed on and everything else. But we do a lot of text messaging as well. So we use a company called Lead Sherper.
Yeah, that's been really, really good.
It's been very good for us. What we like to say is how many people at the end of the day leave unread text messages on their phone. So
it's true.
It's true.
Do you have any? No.
So mailing, text messaging, and online presence, SEO, pay-per-click, stuff like that.
Yeah. So people, I'm sure you hear people say, oh, but the market's so high. How do you find any deals? How can this, how can you make this work? I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not a good time to get into real estate investing." I'm like, "Oh, it's always a good time."
It's always a good time. Yeah. I mean, I think it's more challenging now. What we hear a lot from our buyers is how you getting all these properties because there's nothing, there's no inventory.
Yeah.
That is true on the MLS, and everybody on the MLS is probably overpaying for some of the properties that they get. But for us, because we're going direct to the seller, there's always distressed properties, always distressed people. It's just a matter of finding them, identifying them, getting to build rapport with them, making sure you're a fit for them, and then bringing it to fruition. So, they're out there. And I think, with the market being good, it makes it more complicated, more difficult for them to maybe agree to go with us, maybe compared to the traditional route. But when, we hear a lot of people saying, well, when the market's bad, I don't know if I want to get into real estate then either. So,
Yeah, exactly.
people get worried about it's good. Like you say, I agree with you 100%. There's always a good time.
Yeah.
You just adapt to whatever the market is.
And I can remember, like, even in the beginning, when we started, we'd have like a slow month here and there, and I would see on social media our friends in other parts of the country that do the same thing, and they're getting tons and tons of deals. And I said it myself. Everyone says it. I'm like, well, maybe it's just our market. Our market is too hard for this. Maybe we shouldn't do this. And no, he kept going, and the deals are out there. We just had to find them and get better at it. So
Yeah,
definitely there.
I know your confidence level, I'm sure, has a lot to do with it too. When you talk to people, that they feel comfortable that you're going to be able to put it all together for them.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the confidence wasn't there in the beginning. We were making offers on properties, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to find buyers, and that still even happens today. And would we be able to close on properties if we needed to, and things like that, especially where people rely on you to come through sometimes, and you're praying to God that you can, but you didn't always know if you had the confidence there. But, sometimes you just have to cancel deals, some deals, sometimes you just feel like anything else. But, we always try to put the best interests of the sellers first, and try to, within reason to us as well. And we try to make it work. And most people, if they know that we can't, we're pretty transparent with everything. We tell everybody, we may keep this house, or we're most likely, we tell everybody we're going to market the property. In the beginning, that's all we ever did. Now we keep some of the properties. But back then we didn't. We tell them, we're going to market and find another buyer for your property. And,
having that confidence to be your actual truth teller and be completely transparent changes everything.
It changes everything, and when you're beginning as a wholesaler, people are nervous to do that because they think they're doing something wrong. And there's really nothing wrong with it. And people really don't care if you make money off of it. They just want help. And if you can provide a service and a help to make their situation better and give them, more or less, the money in terms that they want, they don't care if you make money. They want you to make money. Matter of fact, they're happy that you make money. But in the beginning, you don't know that. You don't have that experience yet. So it can get a little nerve-wracking in the beginning. But, it's always just best to be, like she says, a truth seeker, a truth teller, be transparent. And then, and then if you get in a situation where you have the property under contract for too much, you can go back to them and say, listen, I can get this done. I have somebody who wants to buy it, but we need to be at this number to make it work. And, they'll be more inclined to work with you at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. So where does it feel to you like the market is heading?
Well, I think we'll have another good year here, thanks to the interest rates dropping down. Again, I am no expert in this field, so last person you should be taking advice from. I'm only going off of what other people have told me. But I think we'll have another decent year. I think there's definitely a correction coming. I'm actually looking forward to that correction personally myself. I don't think it'll be as bad as the recession of 2008, 2009, 10. I mean, that was, the worst one in a long, long time. But I assume, the market's always cyclical, so we're going to have our ups and downs, and we've been up for a good 12 years now, so 10 years, right? So it's just a matter of time. And it'll go down for a little while, and it'll be a good time to buy, and then eventually it'll be a good time to sell after that.
That's it. It's always a good time to do something.
Yeah.
Well, here at least, I'm more closer to the Boston area. There's just a ton of inventory coming online, and it's not even that we necessarily have to have a recession. It's just that there's just only so many people that need to buy something. And,
Yeah.
as far as the certain types of inventory that are coming, brand new little condos and stuff. I mean, that's not necessarily they're going to be overpriced for investors. And there's only so many people who are trying to buy these condos. So I think we're going to have a correction just because of that, just because of the inventory, just because of the supply. But, we'll see.
Yeah, and the market down in Boston's insane. The numbers that go down there is just, it's crazy to me that, because we'll see things like on Facebook or some of the wholesalers in that area reach out to us of certain properties. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Even though it's only 40 minutes.
It's
It's true.
Different.
Yeah.
Well, we even see like one town to another, like Brookline.
Yeah.
Brookline and Boston, Brookline's got such a better school system that you could literally be on the line and your house could be worth $200,000 less because you don't have the Brookline school system. So.
Yeah. Brookline, man.
Yeah.
Just crazy down there. It's hard for me to fathom numbers like that.
I know. And it's hard to, it's like, oh, you're getting 2% cap? Oh, that's great. Like, what?
Yeah, I know. Who would have thought 2% cap would be great? What I recommend to new wholesalers, if any of them are listening, just because we're talking about, the Boston market, it would be my suggestion that if anybody wants to get into wholesaling, that they don't look into higher end markets like Boston or the seacoast cities or towns or things of that nature. Anywhere that it's much more blue collar, I guess, or middle class to lower middle class communities are going to be much more successful because there's more buyers looking for those properties than the higher end homes. So you'll just have a larger inventory to work with. So just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's tough to get started when your first flip is like an $800,000 property, a single family, like, oh, gee, and holding costs and stuff are a little crazy. And, what if something doesn't come together? So how did you choose Buffalo, New York as your second market?
We're just getting started in Buffalo. We started in December, so we're just going into our 3rd month now. We're trying to assign a deal today. We have under contract. We're sending out another one. We've had a few contracts that we've had to cancel, but we're really starting to get momentum there. We're really excited about it. Really, it was just, we went out there for training with a real estate investing training that we did with a gentleman named Chris Noggle, who's a tremendous financial coach and has had a great impact on our business in general. But, we went out there and then, we just identified it as a market that has a lot of properties in a very small square footage area or square mileage area compared to like New Hampshire, where we're from, where towns are much more rural. I wish everything was like Manchester, New Hampshire, but it's not. When Buffalo, it was like that in a much larger scale.
It really was. We were driving around and I was saying to you, this kind of looks like Manchester. I'm like, but it just keeps going and going and going. And one of the things we do is drive and look for distressed houses. Obviously, a lot of people do that, and we put them on our list. And I said, there's one. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a million houses I want to flip here. So we kind of said, okay, that, and then we made some connections there. We have a couple of good friends in that market.
Yeah,
right?
So we partnered up with a good friend, somebody in the market, and we just identified it as a lot of distressed properties in a small area. And also there was really nobody, there's wholesalers there, but nobody's really ever doing it like a business like we do. So we have all our systems in place so we can really just, just copy it somewhere else and just implement everything. So that's what we're doing now. And we're really starting off small scale, but we're actively trying to hire somebody out there right now for acquisitions and dispositions. And once we do that, we'll really start scaling there. But yeah, we just identified it as a good market. And whether there was really other people there or not doing the same thing we do, we would have probably done it anyway. Because,
I think there's just so much opportunity there either way.
Yeah,
no matter what.
There's enough for everybody everywhere. So
exactly.
And we were looking at Jacksonville as an area for a while for buy and hold for ourselves as well as wholesaling. And then, we looked at some areas in the Carolinas and it really just became more of a logistical thing as well. Yeah. Whereas Buffalo is a quick flight away, traveling there from an expense standpoint isn't too costly. Whereas traveling to the Carolinas can be, Florida is not too bad, but it's a 3.5 hour flight compared to a 1 hour flight.
Right, because right now we're going down probably at least between us and our acquisition guy once a week. So
Yeah.
we wanted somewhere that'd be easy to go once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually were looking at Oklahoma too, but getting to Oklahoma,
Yeah.
there's like no direct flights there, like 50 round trip. I'm like, there's just no way.
No. That
But-
is another great market for it, though.
Yeah, it is a
Oklahoma
good
City,
market. Yeah.
the whole area.
Yeah.
But
yeah, logistics, like you say,
yeah,
you've got to factor
So,
that
yeah.
into.
The fact is logistics seemed like a good area, and honestly, it doesn't cost a lot of money to wholesale. So we'll try it out. And if it doesn't work, we'll cancel it. But, we'll make it work. But, that was just a standpoint. There was everything to gain, not much to lose to try it.
So do you feel
Which is
like your
wholesaling in
market?
general.
Sorry, say that again.
I said that's wholesaling in general. I mean, it doesn't cost a lot of money to start wholesaling.
Yeah, it is a good way for people who are just starting and just don't know what else to do. It doesn't cost anything to go knock on somebody's door and say, "Hey, I noticed your house is falling apart around you."
Yeah,
Like,
that's
help with
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
then you get at you don't even know what you're doing. You're like, oh, put a contract. You find a buyer, and you're like, oh my god, I just made $10,000 or $20,000. I had no idea I could do that.
Yeah.
Well, now you have enough money to get going.
I said that to you in the beginning because I didn't know a lot about real estate at the time. And I remember saying, are you sure? Like, you can really do this? Like, what is this whole business? I don't understand it. And then it was like, oh, another deal, another deal, another deal. And I said, okay, this is a real business.
Yeah.
So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then we both quit our W-2s and we do it full time and we support a family and we're living a great life as a result of it. So
Nice. So what would you say? I mean, we've covered this a little bit. You talked about different pieces of advice, but somebody who is just getting started, just thinking, oh gosh, I'm really afraid. I don't know what to do. I want to get started, but how would you kind of give them? What would you sort of say to somebody who came up to you and said, how can I get started?
Well, the first thing I would recommend is always get a mentor or a coach. And I do that still now. I'm always seeking as I get better to find somebody better and more educated and more experienced than me so I can continue to level up as an investor and really just as a person, self-development as well. So I really feel strongly with finding somebody who can guide you in the right direction. But the other thing I think prevents a lot of people from really doing anything is analysis paralysis. Everybody wants to read everything and make sure they understand perfectly everything. And I am actually, to a fault, the complete opposite. I mean, I do a ton of reading, a ton of training, a ton of education, but somebody's like, go do it. I'm like, all right, I just do it. And
he's like taking the words out of my mouth because I was going to say that's like, he is the king of fail forward. We just do it and then we try to figure out what's going to happen after. And you know what? It really, I mean, it's been to our benefit because we never just are stuck in our tracks listening to 5 different coaches and just analyzing everything. It's like, no, let's just try it. Let's go with it and make it happen.
You got to just pull the trigger, and you got to know that you're going to make mistakes. You just have to take massive imperfect action, and whatever happens. And if you make a mistake, you learn from it and move on. But just to think that you're going to I don't know how to do this yet. I don't know how to do that. Just go do it. You'll figure it out, or figure out the next step. And then once you figure out that next step, do the next step. But a lot of people read and the whole analysis paralysis thing, I think it prevents a lot of people from being very successful in life more than anything.
Yeah. So that's your Nike advice. Just do it. Figure out.
Just do it. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, with anything in life, right? Just do it.
Just do it.
If you want to learn how to run a marathon, right, you can read a book about it, but at the end of the day, you have to go out and start taking those steps and start running.
Yep.
And then eventually it's all going to come together. You're going to have good days and bad days, but you stay consistent. Every day you just show up.
Yeah. And when did you decide to start doing some flips?
We did our first one our second year, so 2018, to just kind of get our feet wet with it. It went really well. So we did about I think, 6 last year.
Yeah.
We have one going on now.
One starting soon, hopefully.
Yeah, we definitely got we're hoping to do maybe 12 this year. It's a difficult balance with the flips because wholesaling really is our business model and 90% of what we do. And there's a lot of work that goes into running the business for that. So when you start to do flips, it can pull you away from that, which can really slow down your wholesaling business, your leads and all that stuff. So you have to be very careful. And there's been many times where her and I have spent way too much time in Home Depot or at the houses with contractors and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the momentum of your business can really slow down. We're kind of put ourselves in a nice place thanks to some, continuing to network and partner up with people that one of our partners on some of our flips is willing to take on a project manager role for us. So he'll get a percentage of the profit and everything else, but he'll be more hands-on to run all those things so we can just focus on the business, bring in the leads. We do all the financing because we've been blessed enough to network with a lot of good people who do a lot of personal lending for us now. We continue to build those relationships and do all that stuff behind the scenes. So we're going to flip more, but we love flipping. She's really, really good at the whole before and after design aspect of it.
I enjoy it a lot.
And I do too, but managing the contractors and everything, it's just not for us.
Yeah.
I love running a business. I don't want to run contractors.
Yeah.
We'll continue to do some, but it's more of a complement to what we do than anything else. And fortunately for us, we get to cherry pick our pipeline, right? So we have tons of deals come in. We say, you know what, that just needs some paint and carpet and a roof, and we can throw that on in 30 days. And a kitchen.
They always need kitchens.
Yeah, they always need a kitchen. So although we're doing a very big project right now in Brookline, New Hampshire, I probably wouldn't have taken that on if we didn't partner up with this person for it, just because it would have just taken too much time away from the business and personal life, and that's another thing I'll say is as I get older, my time is more valuable than the money, quite honestly. I love the money that we make, but at some point, you can't pay me enough to give up my free time with her, the children, and the things that we want to do.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to grind as much as I have in years past, in trying to, set up the business so we can do what we need to do, work hard when we need to work hard, but also spend a lot more quality time enjoying things, the fruits of our labor.
Yeah. Do you have any buy and hold property, any kind of cash flow stuff that you?
Not yet. Our goal is to get a handful of those this year. Quite honestly, we're pocketing our money and waiting for the correction, and we're going to be on a buying frenzy then. If the right deal came along, we'd pick it up, but we're just focusing on building the business right now and scaling the business in both markets. But we are an opportunity to buy when that happens, and we'll continue to position ourselves to be even more ready. Yeah. And then we will. But that is really our long-term goal. Our long-term goal, this wholesaling, the flipping, it's all a means to an end. Our goal personally is to have a portfolio of rental properties as we retire and just manage the managing companies of that portfolio. And, whether we do some wholesaling or flipping, it'll be more because we want to, not because we have to. And then, we'll look into, building that portfolio into something bigger or different. We'll see what the road takes us, but that's really what we want to do. The long term.
That sounds like a good plan. Then you can be managing everything from the beach. Oh, our rent check just got deposited, honey. Great.
I love it.
Yeah. We want to be like you, where we can just walk the beach every morning.
Absolutely. So anything I should have asked you that I didn't think of asking, or anything else you want to share?
Anything you can think of?
I'm not sure.
No, I think we covered a lot. I think just for anybody who's looking to get into wholesaling, just, get going, find some coaching, and just do it. The opportunity is there. It's not easy, but it's not hard. You can definitely do it.
And maybe the advice too of once you get a deal or two, to keep that momentum, because I know that's hard for a lot of people. They'll get one or two and then
they spend all the money, they don't invest it back into the company and keep marketing. If you get a $20,000 deal, don't go out and buy a nice car. Put it back into the business.
Keep on going. Build that big momentum.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, is keeping that pipeline going.
Yeah.
It's the most important thing in
Really is.
wholesaling. You know, we're all about marketing. We're you know, wholesaling is really less to do about real estate investing as it is about, you know, finding properties. You know, we're expert property finders or deal finders. That's really all we are. You know, we become real estate investors as we started to, you know, take properties down and flip and things like that, and we'll continue to evolve into that. But wholesaling, all you need to do is be an expert deal finder, and then just the buyers will come. You just hook them up, and you'll make your money that way. But it's like any other marketing or sales position. If you're not out there marketing all the time, you're not going to find them. You have to be very aggressive with your marketing techniques. You can't just sit and hope that they call you, because they never will.
Right, exactly. Why is anyone finding me? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I want to buy the house.
I'm ready.
I placed an ad on Craigslist.
Exactly. And people don't realize, you know, like the metrics. So you're sending out 45,000 postcards to get, you know, 50 phone calls, you know, or whatever.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, we had, you know, Buffalo's a little bit different, but we sent out about, I think it was 1,700 postcards last week. We got 61 responses. And out of those 61 responses, you know, we'll probably get 1 to 2 appointments. And out of one of those 2 appointments, you know, we're probably averaging probably 40-50% close ratio of appointments there. You know, here, you know, if we get a 1% to 2%, you know, return rate on our postcards for any particular list that we mail to, that's really good. So, you know, that means for, you know, every 1,000 letters we send, we get 1 person that responds, and then it takes 10 of those responses before we probably get 2 meetings, 3 meetings, and then, you know, we're 1 out of every 3 locking those deals up. So it's definitely a big numbers game. And
I have something to say too, just hearing him say all of that. When you're starting out, you don't think about it as much, or I know we didn't, but know your numbers. Like, he knows all of those things like that off the top of his head. And there was a time when we didn't. So, and our coaches were always telling us, you have to know your numbers. So,
but I was failing forward, advice. So I didn't care at the time, you know. But yeah, you have to know your numbers. That was part of your growth.
Yeah, and it's helpful.
And I'm still a work in progress, for sure, with that.
We all are.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't think a lot of people understand that, you know, you're putting out a lot of stuff out there, and that's where wholesaling can get costly, right? Because you can spend, you know, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in marketing before you really get a good, strong lead. That's why the whole cold calling thing is very attractive to a lot of people, because it's a much lower cost. But people don't realize with the cold calling, you now have to spend 4 hours on the phone making phone call after phone call all day, every day. You may have to do that for a month, 2 months, 3 months before you get a lead. So it's either you spend the time on the phone or you spend the money sending out the cards. But it's the same thing. It's doing a lot of stuff for a little return. But those little returns can be big deals. You know, we've had some wholesale deals that I never thought were possible, and life-changing wholesale deals. So they're out there, but if you're not up at the plate swinging, you're never going to hit that home run.
Right, exactly. Do you have a favorite coach?
You know, I'd say right now my favorite coach is Todd Toback. You know, as far as the wholesaling goes, he has really been the person and company that we've implemented ourselves around. He's taught me so much how to be so much. I'm really not articulating this well. He's taught me how to be very good at the craft. He's also taught me how to scale the business. He's taught me how to overcome a lot of objections. He's helped me really overcome a lot of my fears. He's somebody out of the San Diego area that's been doing this for 20 years. And he's just a tremendous guy, and he's really, really good at what he does.
So he's just someone who has so much information that you can go listen to some of his training and go back later and listen to it and hear something completely different that you now needed to hear because you're at a different level. He does that all the time. So
you know, and so he's probably our best coach. You know, Cody Hoffein's a very good friend of ours and a coach as well. And same with Chris Noggle, who we have a phone call with later today. But he's more of a financial coach for us at this point. And you know, and then We're looking to get into some never split the difference with Chris Voss training later this year as well. So, we're always looking to evolve, and we love the coaching aspect, and there's so many good people out there. It's just a matter of finding the right ones that work best for you and you identify with.
Yeah.
Excellent. So besides finding a great deal for you, is there anything else I can do to bring you, people or business or anything? I'll put a link to your website on my website, but is there anything else I
Thank you.
could put on there that would be helpful?
Yeah, obviously, if anybody's looking to get off-market property deals, we are the go-to people here north of Boston for that kind of stuff. We have a lot of people on our distribution list looking for deals, and we get multiple deals in Massachusetts and New Hampshire every single month that we're looking to assign. And for anybody who's new, looking to get into it, I'm not a coach, I'm not a mentor, but we do have access to a lot of buyers and a lot of techniques to get properties down. I'm willing to help coach them through a deal. So if anybody wants to JV or partner up in that aspect, we definitely would like to talk to them. And, and we're always willing to answer questions or provide guidance or advice, again, to help people out. There's plenty of houses out there for everybody. We live by an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. And we want everybody else to succeed as we have. And if we can pay it forward, we feel like with the universe, what you give out is what you get back. So we're all about giving out to the universe as much positive love as we can. So
great. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing with me today and with everybody.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. It was so much fun.
That's great.
Yeah, it was wonderful for me. I hope we have a chance to meet sometime in person at an event or something.
Me too.
That'd be awesome.
Great.
That'd be great.
All right. Excellent.
All right.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.